Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Real Time, where we talk about the movies we like.
And the ones we don't.
I'm Tyler.
And I'm Molly.
Today, we're going to be talking about the most recent of the Evil Dead movies, starting with 2013's remake, reboot, reimagining. I don't know what you would call this one, because it's not exactly the same story, but it's not exactly a different story either.
Yeah, I think remake is pretty close.
Yeah, but well, spoiler alert. Bruce Campbell's Ash appears at the very end of the credits, so I don't know what you make of this.
Yeah, I'm not for sure what that means.
Maybe this is just another cabin in another woods with another Book of the Dead. Sure, fine, whatever.
I guess it could be.
That's probably the best way to look at it. It's just another story in the Evil Dead universe.
Yeah, it could be.
Now, this movie was directed by Fede Alvarez, who recently this year released Alien Romulus. I haven't seen that, unfortunately. I wanted to, but I just never got around to it. He also did an episode of From Dusk Till Dawn, the series, and the movie Don't Breathe, which is a pretty underrated movie, I'd say.
Is that the one where they break into the blind guy's house?
Yeah.
Yeah, I've seen that.
So, this was not your first viewing of this movie. Neither was it mine. But let's get our general thoughts on it.
Yeah, it's violent. It's scary. I watch a lot of scary movies, so I'm used to seeing all the scary and violent stuff. But this one, whenever I remember when I first watched it, it was pretty scary. It probably gave me a nightmare.
So this is probably one of the scariest movies you've seen.
Yeah, probably.
Definitely when it comes to just the visceral body horror and gore on screen.
It is very violent. There's a lot of stuff that happens that I just squirm in my seat. I just don't like it.
Yeah, it gets really they get really creative with how they pick apart a human's body. It's really disgusting. It's really gross. So I love it.
Yeah, very gross. I cannot stress that enough. This is a gross movie.
But in the best way possible.
Yes, I suppose so.
This movie stars Jane Levy as Mia, a woman who is trying to get herself off of drugs. So she goes out to this cabin in the woods, where this cabin has been in her family for a bit of time, from the sounds of it. She goes there with her brother David, played by Shiloh Fernandez, and their friends Eric, played by Lou Taylor Pucci, Olivia, played by Jessica Lucas, and David's girlfriend Natalie, played by Elizabeth Blackmore.
Yeah.
Very, very small cast, but they do the job.
Yeah, they definitely get the job done.
And like I said, Bruce Campbell appears at the end as an uncredited Ash, which is always nice to see. I love to see him back. He's great. I love him.
Oh yeah, you gotta love him.
Now, it's really interesting, this story. It's, like I said, it's doing kind of the same thing as the original, but it's also doing some different things. Because in the original, they were just going for a vacation. Here, they're actually going out to help get Mia off of drugs, which this isn't the first time they've done this, as they said previously. It didn't work last time, so they have doubts about how it's going to go this time. But then Eric, the dumbass, just decides that he's going to read from the Necronomicon, this book that's bound in human flesh, inked in blood, and literally has warnings telling people, stay away, don't read this, get out of here, But he doesn't listen because Eric's a dumbass.
Yeah, I mean, if I saw a book that was covered in skin, or what appeared to be human skin, I sure would not read anything from it.
Yeah, just leave it alone. You don't need to be messing around with that, buddy. Just go away. Go. Get out of there.
Yeah, never a good idea to pick that up.
But he does it, and lo and behold, Mia's the first one who gets possessed, which is an interesting way of going about this because she's kind of the main character in this movie.
Yeah, she is. And I think you already said a spoiler alert, but she's the only one who survives.
Yeah. For a good amount of the movie, her brother actually also serves as a sort of decoy protagonist, given he's the one taking charge and trying to keep everyone alive until the morning. He does not succeed, but then he figures out a way to get around the need to actually kill Mia in order to purify her. He buries her alive with her head covered in a plastic bag, which technically kills her. But then he resuscitates her immediately afterwards, which gets rid of the evil force inside her. So that's kind of neat.
Yeah. So yeah, she does die, but yeah, in the book it shows how to bring her back and purify her, I guess is what they called it. And yeah, it works.
Yeah. Kind of interesting that this worked, but whatever works, I guess.
Yeah, it worked.
And I think it's interesting that this remake is as good as it was, and it's being at all considered, in the conversation for being as good as the original. And some people think it's better. I don't agree with that necessarily, of course, but it's definitely my second favorite of the Evil Dead series.
Yeah, I don't think it's better than the original, but to be fair, it does have a bigger budget, and and it has a story to work on that was already there. But what they do with it is really cool and gross in a good way. So I mean, it turns out pretty good.
Yeah. So guess how many gallons of fake blood they used?
Oh man, it's got to be a huge number.
Yeah.
I really don't know.
Okay, so in an interview, Fede Alvarez said that they used 50,000 gallons for the final scene alone.
50,000? That's
just for that last scene.
That seems like way too much.
Was it though? Was it too much for this scene?
Well, no. I mean, there was a lot of blood in that scene.
And evidently, over the course of the movie, they used 70,000. So 5/7 of their fake blood budget went to the last scene.
Yeah, that is a crazy amount of blood.
And although he has a background in CGI, Fede Alvarez chose to go with practical effects mainly for the film's visuals, out of tribute to what Sam Raimi achieved on a very limited budget back in 1980.
Yeah, which I like. I've always been more of a fan of practical effects, and I think it makes everything seem a bit more real.
Yeah.
Because this is actually there. It's not just a computerized thing.
Exactly. And for people who instantly write this movie off because it is a remake, let it be known that both Sam Raimi and Bruce Campbell were producers on this movie.
Yeah, so they definitely had their helping hand in it.
Their input and their approval.
Yeah. So, I mean, yeah, if the creators of the original helped out, it's going to be a well-done remake.
Plus, one of the original producers, Robert Tappert, was also a producer on this one.
Oh, yeah, that helps.
Okay. Now, the original idea for the abomination, that final demon that they had to face, was it for it to be an amalgamation of all the bodies and faces of the 5 possessed people so far? They weren't able to make this concept work, but it was eventually realized in Evil Dead Rise.
Yeah, that does sound kind of hard to do.
The original idea for Ash's cameo was going to be for him to actually meet Mia. I feel like that would have been really cool.
That would have been cool. How would he have met her though? Would he just drove up in a car to the cabin on fire and see her and be like, yo, what the heck?
Maybe. I don't know. Or maybe he just rolls up, be like, Necronomicon, huh?
Yeah, been there, done that. I know what you're going through.
Missing hand, too, huh?
He can relate.
Although, speaking of cars, we once again see Sam Raimi's Oldsmobile in this movie, which is neat.
Yeah, pretty cool.
Reportedly, he has 4 different versions of the same car. So I guess he just likes this model.
I guess so, yeah.
Well, given that it's been used in basically every one of his movies, from the Evil Deads to Spider-Man to Doctor Strange 2, he likes his car.
Yeah, I can tell.
Okay. The original ending saw Mia make it out of the woods and onto the road, where she was rescued by a truck driver and his wife. On the way to the hospital, she would have opened her eyes to reveal she was still a deadite before the movie cut to black.
Aw, man. I think that would be disappointing.
Yeah, I think so too, because, well, you gotta have someone survive. And although we did see Ash getting possessed at the end of the original Evil Dead, they weren't really setting up a sequel, though this one didn't either.
Yeah. It's just kind of disappointing if this character went through so much, and then at the end it was all for nothing. That's just disappointing.
I feel like we were more accepting of Ash getting possessed at the end of the original because, well, one, they weren't planning on doing any sort of sequels at the time. 2, he wasn't possessed his whole movie, so it's not like he has to go through as much as Mia went through. 3, with the benefit of the sequels and the TV series, we know he's going to be okay.
Yeah, he has time to get better.
Which also brings me to another interesting point, concerning both Ash and Mia as protagonists in their own separate movies. I feel like if we're just taking the original Evil Dead in comparison with this one, Mia definitely comes off as a stronger protagonist than Ash does.
Yeah, she seems to be more competent, I guess.
Yeah, she has a lot to deal with too. She's trying to get herself off drugs. She gets possessed, and for most of the movie, she's just in the basement yelling profanity and slurs at everyone, and just trying to make things a whole lot more difficult for everyone up there, which she does. But then she comes back and she has to quickly deal with her brother sacrificing himself to save her, and then she has to actually get herself into gear and stop this last deadite.
Yeah, and she manages to do that. So, yeah, she knows what she's doing.
Ash, on the other hand, if you're just taking the original movie into consideration, is kind of a wimpy, dweeby, dorky dumbass.
Yeah, if we're just talking about the original, he doesn't even seem like the main character at first in his movie.
No, he doesn't. Now, again, with the benefit of hindsight and the follow-up movies, Ash does grow a lot more into the more competent but still dumbass hero we got, and it's great to see. But again, just taking these two movies, the original and this one in consideration, Mia is definitely a more stronger and more interesting protagonist, I'd say.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you're probably right.
Although there's something lacking from this one that even the original Evil Dead had. There isn't so much humor in this one.
Yeah, this is pretty much it's a straightforward scary movie. There's nothing kind of goofy about it.
Which you got your moments here and there, like Eric slipping on what's her face's tongue. That was kind of funny.
Yeah, but it's also scary.
And like just the amount of abuse this poor guy takes throughout the whole movie, it does get kind of comical at the end because this dude is getting all sorts of messed up. He got shanked by a needle. He gets stabbed in the gut and the chest. He gets shot with several nails. It's just this poor guy. You kind of messed this up for everyone by letting this demon out, but geez, you're having a rough day. And I know I criticized some of the comedy in Evil Dead 2. I realize that. But you know, humans are full of contradictions. That's just how it is sometimes.
You're right, I can't argue with you. Because I probably say one thing and then, contradict whatever I just said, so.
That's true. Okay, so Robert Tappert actually suggested the idea of remaking Evil Dead. He proposed it to Raimi and Campbell. Raimi responded more positively, whereas Campbell was the least enthusiastic of the three. Raimi thought that the original was the sort of film that could be successfully updated and reimagined by a new generation of filmmakers. And Campbell wasn't too happy to pass on his iconic role of Ash. But he was more receptive to it when he heard that the movie was going to focus on a whole new set of characters, and Ash wouldn't be recasted at all.
Yeah, that definitely probably made it better. Oh, goodness.
What do you have to say about that, sweetie? Yeah, I agree. It would be a mistake to recast the role of Ash. It's a very iconic role that Bruce Campbell perfected, and I don't really think anyone would be able to do it justice besides him. Well, maybe no one else could do it besides him, but very few could.
Yeah, you're probably right. It's kind of like, I don't know, like Daniel Radcliffe as Harry Potter. You're not going to see anyone else in that role.
Yeah, like that, or let's say Johnny Depp as Jack Sparrow, Robert Downey Jr. as Iron Man, Harrison Ford as Indiana Jones. The examples go on. These are iconic characters played by iconic actors, and to think that anyone else would be able to do it as well as them, it's a fool's errand.
Yeah, It's hard to see anybody else doing as good a job.
Okay. The movie was originally rated NC-17 until it was toned down to an R rating. According to Fede Alvarez, he and Raimi were always willing to keep the NC-17 rating since the original film had it. But the studio required it to have an R rating in order to have a wide release.
Yeah, dang studios.
Which, this thing is violent enough as it is. So, I think I don't think we needed the NC-17.
Yeah, that's plenty violent. I can't imagine all the stuff they had to cut out.
The movie was banned in Ukraine for its extreme violence.
Yeah, I could see other countries, wanting to ban it.
Pussies.
Yeah.
Mia can be seen wearing a Michigan State sweatshirt. In the original, the main character also wears a Michigan State sweater, which Sam Raimi is from Michigan.
Oh, that would be why, I guess.
Okay. The unrated cut for the film restored 6 minutes of footage that was removed to achieve an R rating. It was released with Fede Alvarez's blessing in October 2018 on Blu-ray during Halloween as the director's cut. I'm not entirely sure which version we just watched. Let me go check real quick. Stall for me for a few seconds, please.
Well, I'll try. Okay. I'll try my best. I'm not very good at stalling. But yeah, 6 whole minutes. So that must be some pretty violent minutes. Because, I don't know, even with an R rating, it seemed really violent to me.
I think we just have the theatrical version, which is fine.
Yeah. Yeah, because, like I said, that's violent enough.
Now, there's also something to be said about Mia in general. Like I said, she's trying to get herself off drugs, but at the same time, she's also seen some crazy, crazy stuff. So it lends a lot to her a lot to her mindset and how other people are really reacting to her. They said to her brother at the beginning that they're not going to let her leave the cabin at all because they don't want her to get hooked up on drugs again. Then she starts wigging out because she sees what she thinks is a demon. They're thinking that she's just, she's just having a fit because of lack of drugs.
Yeah, it takes them a lot longer to realize something really bad is going on because they just play off her what she's saying as like a relapse or something.
Yeah, which you probably wouldn't even if you were just up in a cabin in the woods with your buddies and one of them just starts screaming and ranting and raving about having seen some weird stuff in the woods, you probably wouldn't take him too seriously either because why would you?
Yeah, because let's face it, that sounds pretty crazy.
It is. But yeah, that really lends to Mia's deteriorating mental state. That plus the fact that her and David's mother was locked up in the nut house because she had mental health issues. That probably sounded a bit insensitive, but I don't know.
Maybe just a little.
It's okay. They're fictional characters.
Yeah. All right.
But all that is also not really contributing to Mia's mental health either. So you got this perfect storm of just crazy about to happen, and then just to add fuel to the fire, they're getting possessed by demons.
Yep. It's pretty wild.
Yes, it is. But I think that wraps it up for this movie, unless you have anything more to say.
No, I don't think so.
That's all right. Well, next we have Evil Dead Rise, the 2023 addition to the franchise. I haven't seen this since it came out, so let's see what happens.
Yeah, we'll give it another watch.
Yeah, as I remember, it's not quite as violent as this one. You thought otherwise, I think.
Yeah, well, I don't know. In my head right now, they're probably on the same level, but I'll have to rewatch this one.
Yeah, let's get into it.
All right, let's do it.
All right, now the latest in the Evil Dead franchise, 2023's Evil Dead Rise, is, well, it's takes a different approach to things, I think.
Yeah, it definitely does.
Yeah, we're not in the same setting as most of the other movies. We're not in the middle of nowhere in a cabin in a woods. We're in an apartment complex in Los Angeles, a very urban environment, and the main conflict comes when some kids discover the Necronomicon underneath their apartment, underneath the garage area of their building after an earthquake.
What it was doing down there, I have no idea.
Well, underneath there used to be a bank vault, so we can assume whoever took care of the Deadites back in the 1920s, where the record that came with the book is from, they took care of it then and decided to just lock up the Necronomicon, which it lay undiscovered until then.
Yeah, I guess so.
All right. Now, this movie was directed by Lee Cronin. He is, honestly, I'm not too familiar with his work. What about you?
Yeah, I don't know who that is, so no idea.
Well, let's take a look at his IMDb page to see what he's done. Whole bunch of TV shows, shorts, stuff like that. So this is probably his big break for the U.S., which is good for him. He's getting to work on a established IP like this, and he did a good job with it. So I would like to see more of his work in the future.
Yeah, I think so.
This movie stars Lily Sullivan as Beth, a guitar technician, or groupie as her sister calls her, who just found out that she's expecting a baby, and she comes to see her sister to get some advice on what she should do.
Yep. Um, and then, yeah, while she's visiting, there is an earthquake while the kids are out getting pizza. And when they come back, that's when they discover the new hole in the ground that leads them to the bank vault.
Yeah, we went over that.
Well, yeah, I'm just saying that's how we got there.
Anyways, Alyssa Sutherland plays her sister Ellie. She's kind of well, we can tell the relationship between these two is strained, considering Beth hasn't really returned her calls concerning her recent separation and divorce, and they're just trying to deal with that. And you can really tell that the relationships between these two siblings is pretty genuine.
Yeah, they seem really close despite the fact that they haven't seen each other in a while.
Gabriella Eccles, Morgan Davies, and Nell Fisher play Ellie's kids, Bridget, Danny, and Cassie. And the relationship between these three is also pretty clear to see on the screen. We could tell that these are siblings, that it's a genuine sibling connection, unlike what we see in a lot of media.
Yeah, they get along, but yet they still fight and act. Yeah, they act like siblings.
Yeah, it's a very small cast. We see, as we can see on this IMDb page, there's only 15 people credited.
Yeah, not a lot. It's a very small. It takes place in a very small area, so yeah, there's not very many characters.
We also get a cameo from everyone's favorite dumbass Deadite Slayer, Ash, on the record. He appears to have been trapped in 1923. Classic Ash.
Yeah, that gets a little confusing, but I just tried not to think too much into it.
Yeah, just roll with it. Ash got trapped in the past again. It's okay.
Yeah, it's all right.
Now, what are your general thoughts on this?
This is, a very violent and creepy movie. I definitely don't like it as much as the others, I think, but that's not saying it's bad or anything.
I'm not sure where I would rank this in relation to all the others. Definitely around the same area as Evil Dead 2 and Army of Darkness, though. It's very violent, very gory. You care enough about these characters. Don't get me wrong. I'm not asking for Shakespearean writing when it comes to these movies, but you like him well enough.
Yeah, you at least don't want to see him die.
And we also get another thing that hasn't really been seen in the Evil Dead movies before. Kids.
Yeah, this is the first time kids are involved.
And this movie shows that they aren't safe either, because 2 out of 3 of these kids get got, and it gets pretty violent.
Yes, it does.
All right. So, like I said, this is a more. This takes place in a more urban environment, which I feel like it can help more people relate to these people's situations, since not a lot of people live in a cabin out in the woods, but a lot of people do live in more urban environments these days.
Yeah. Not me, but some people, most people.
So I feel like a more a setting that more people live in is beneficial to this movie.
Yeah. It makes it seem more real, I guess. This isn't just a secluded house in the middle of the woods. This is an everyday average apartment.
Which also lends to the fact that there's other people around them too, which a lot of them end up getting possessed by the Deadites, which is makes for interesting things to see what happens. But we never see what happens to any of these other people, which just lets you know, hey, they're still out there. Maybe it's a bit of a hook for a sequel or something. Hopefully, we get something. This movie was originally supposed to be a straight to HBO Max thing, along with things like Batgirl, but Warner Brothers, of course, decided they wanted to entirely scrap Batgirl, even though it was more or less finished. But luckily, they decided to actually release Evil Dead Rise. So you take the good with the bad, I guess.
I guess so.
And there's one thing that I'm a little confused on, though. Now we do get the we do get the classic camp, not camp, cabin in the woods in the opening scene. You know, the movie makes us think that we're going to be focusing on this group of characters for the movie, but then it flashes back to a day ago. And then at the very end, do we link back up with one of the characters that we see in the opening sequence? So it seems like that whole opening and ending was kind of inconsequential to the whole thing.
Yeah. I mean, it just kind of shows what happened. I mean, I guess the opening, yeah, is just to tease you to think we're going back to a cabin in the woods. And then the ending is, yeah, it's kind of just shows how the thing spread.
Yeah, I guess. It's just, I don't know. It just seems kind of superfluous to have that if they're barely going to do anything with it.
Yeah, it doesn't really add much to the movie, but, you know.
It does add some more violence to the movie, so I guess that's okay.
Yeah.
I had something in my mind, but I guess I forgot it.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry you're so forgetful.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So the movie, like I said, was originally going to release on HBO Max, or Max as it's now known, and it was basically meant to be a streaming exclusive. But they decided to actually, put some effort into the marketing to actually, hype this thing up, which allowed it to get released in time for the 10-year anniversary of the last Evil Dead movie.
Oh, nice.
Also in time for the 40th anniversary of the original Evil Dead's release.
Well, that worked out.
Yeah. Kind of funny how that happens.
Yeah. Kind of funny. Seems like good timing.
Okay, so the Necronomicon in this movie is one of the three copies of it. Like they said in the movie, there's three of these things.
Okay.
Okay, so one copy was behind the original trilogy in Ash vs. the Evil Dead. One was found in the Allen cabin, the one from the 2013 version, and then there's this one.
All right, that checks out.
Which was based on a scene in Army of Darkness where Ash has to find the real copy among the three books.
Yeah, I remember that.
So that's kind of interesting to link all of these three separate stories together.
Yeah, that's kind of funny. But yeah, it works out nice.
Yeah, although I must say, the teenage boy in this movie, well, I'm just gonna say it. He's kind of a dumbass. All right. Now look, there's always someone in these movies who reads from the book or plays something that gets the plot going. That's how this works. And maybe it's a bit more excusable because he is a kid. But this kid's a silly goose.
To be fair, he did try to stop the record from playing, but it wouldn't stop.
That's true. That is more than Eric's dumbass ever tried to do.
Yeah. He at least, made an effort to stop it, but whatever demon just kept it playing.
Yeah, I swear, in every single one of these movies, except Army of Darkness, someone does something they're not supposed to do and unleashes the Deadites. Which the only reason why it didn't happen in Army of Darkness is one, there was already Deadites, roaming around, and two, they don't have record players back then.
Yep, record players were not around in the medieval times.
Although I guess Ash kind of screwed things up by not saying the right N word at the end of Klaatu Barada Nikto, and that kind of brought everyone back to dead too. So you know what? He's the dumbass this time around.
I guess so, yeah.
Man, I hope this movie does get a sequel because I wouldn't mind seeing more of Beth.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Get her, get Mia, get Ash together, have them do some stuff. I think it'll be fun.
Yeah, a big final hurrah, I guess.
Yeah, would be cool. Though, maybe not going to happen. Who knows?
Yeah, I don't know. I most certainly do not know.
Yeah, did you know there was supposed to be an Ash versus Freddy and Jason movie, right?
Yeah, I think you told me about it.
Yeah. So it would have been based off of the comic that came out after the movie Freddy versus Jason. But sorry about that. But the rights holders for Freddy and Jason kind of balked at the idea because Bruce Campbell asked them, "So how are we going to kill Freddy and Jason?"
Yeah. I mean, yeah, obviously Ash is going to win. Yeah, can't have Ash die.
But, I mean, like, why would they have a problem with that? Freddy and Jason die at the end of every movie.
Yeah, that's true. So, yeah, you think that wouldn't be a problem?
Yeah, and in the 20 years since Freddy vs. Jason came out, there's only been one movie each for both of these guys. You're sitting on money here, people.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah.
But back to Evil Dead Rise. I think this was a good return to the aesthetic and the general tone of the original movie, and I have a good time with this.
Yeah, me too.
Now let's talk about where these movies rank in accordance with all the others. How about you go first?
Okay, well, I'll try my best.
Let's say least favorite to most favorite.
I'm going to say, and this is also just off the top of my head, so, this could change. But anyways, I would say this one, Evil Dead Rise, might be at the bottom. And then the second one?
Evil Dead 2?
Evil Dead 2, okay. And then the remake, and then Army of Darkness, and then the original. Yeah. I think that's how I would have it.
As for me, Evil Dead. Geez, this is kind of okay. Evil Dead 2 at the bottom for me. Then Army of Darkness. I might like. Okay, Army of Darkness may technically be a worse movie than Evil Dead 2, but I like it more, so that's why it goes above.
It's alright. I had mine up pretty high because I like it.
Then Evil Dead Rise, the remake, and the original at the top.
Alright, fair enough.
But none of these are bad, which is great to see in a long-running franchise such as this. You got 5 movies over the course of 40 years. That sounds like not that many over a long period of time, but what do you do?
Yeah.
You get movies that go over different characters, some that don't connect at all, and they all have just managed to be really fun and good and enjoyable, and you love coming back to them.
Oh, yeah. Gotta love it.
So, unless you have anything more to say on this?
I don't think so.
I don't either, so we'll see you next time.
Yeah, see you next time.